Hi, my name is Daudi Mugabi and this is Business Mike episode 17. My guest today is Clare Kagimu. She's the founder and CEO of a rebranding solutions company called Phoenix Design. In this episode, Clare shares some of the struggles she went through while building her brand, as well as the lessons she's learned along the way. All this and more next on Business Mike. Thank you so much, Clare, for joining us today on Business Mike. Could you briefly tell us who you are and what you do?
Thank you, Davi, for the opportunity. My name is Clare Kagimu, Esther Clare Kagimu. I am an interior architect, interior designer, and I am the business owner for Phoenix Designs.
And where is Phoenix Designs based?
Right now, my base is in Scotland, Glasgow, which is it's just a part of the UK, London, but I'm based in Glasgow at the moment.
And what does Phoenix Design do exactly?
Phoenix Designs, to be honest, is supposed to become this huge design house that will be a global rebranding solutions company for, different companies, local businesses, and possibly corporate businesses. So that is what we do. We look to create and, make very small changes using design to meet the needs of daily life, to be honest. So we are a rebranding solutions company. So if you have any issues, come to us and you'd be really surprised. It's just cleverly put in that bracket of Phoenix.
And why did you pick that name, Phoenix Design?
I have had a very interesting journey of life since coming to the UK. And I just fell in love with that name because it resonates with my story, coming here, having all the hopes and desires and dreams to start a new life. And then as soon as I touched down in the UK, my dream died with the passing of my father. So everything just kind of shut down. And for quite a long time, I did not pick up my, desire again to design or draw or just look at having a company. And it took possibly 10 years to get that desire back because, most of you maybe have now seen through my story, my dad was my backbone. He was my architect. He was my everything. So without him, I didn't think I had a chance to ever regain, the perspective of, okay, I can pursue a future in design because I have someone to look up to. So it was just quite recently that, passing through the grief and believing in myself and doing a lot of self-discovery that I got this passion back. And just like, the phoenix, it rises up from its ashes. So my company had to be something that I can relate to. And everybody knows like a phoenix bird, it rises up from its ashes and it rebrands itself back to life from the very things that kind of almost killed it. And then it just evolves into this beautiful bird that is just fiery, full of passion and has something to give back. So I quickly jumped into that name. And I think it fits me perfectly and what I stand for and what I intend to do with the brand.
And as a business owner, what do you love the most about owning your own business? What are the best parts?
It's just that freedom and liberty of knowing that, gosh, I actually have something that I can create that will become a legacy and, something that I can call my own, because it's okay to start off when you're working for other companies, but that knowing that you've created something from scratch and it's, a potential avenue that can give other people jobs and even be something that people can look at as a pillar, a solution to not just, people individually, but probably governments and systems. So just knowing that I have something that has played a role in the bigger picture of schemes is just exciting. So I think that's the most I love about having my own business. And of course, the freedom of knowing I can wake up when I need to, which normally doesn't work, maybe on the weekends, but just having that freedom of, okay, this is mine, but it does call for a high level of discipline because you do have to balance the freedoms and having to put the work in. So I love that balance so much.
And what about the flip side? What are some of the responsibilities that you have to do now that perhaps you didn't envision before starting your own business?
I think it's following through. the most, because if you don't follow through on, for example, a client coming in or a contract that you've received, it all ends up on you. It begins with you and it ends with you. So if you don't do it, no one else will do it. And at the moment, because I'm still in my second year and it takes, I think, like 5 years for a company to be really established and kick off, if I don't put in the work, nobody else will. It's very easy for me to leverage, with the different contacts that I have, but if I don't do it, no one else will. So, and that means I don't get to either get paid, I don't get to sleep, eat, and, do all the other necessary things. So there's a high cost of really taking responsibility for myself.
And how big is your team over there at Phoenix Designs?
I am my own team at the moment, but like I said, over the years, it's now been, I think, 13 years, managed to make some great contacts. So depending on the work that we get, it's very easy for me to pick up a phone and just call in the people that I need, from the interior designers to 3D designers, logo designers. It all depends. Whichever client comes my way, like God has been really awesome. I always have the right people at the right time. So, it's safe for me to say that when the time comes for me to have a team, which I would definitely love, there are a few people that I know would want to go with me the long haul and actually partner with. But at the moment, it's just me and the contacts that I have who I can, bring into the company. We sign a contract and then they work under the umbrella of Phoenix to do the job that is needed for a specific client.
Who are some of your clients and what is it they love about your business?
Wow, my client base is so open. Like I said, I have this childlike aspect to my business. I do take it seriously, but I'm really open. I do not kind of yet have something to say that, okay, we won't take this kind of person in, we won't take this kind of person in. We will, to be honest, take every person, because we've had clients who needed us to do some fashion work for them. We've had a church that needed a logo to be done. We've had the biggest highlight, of course, being, designing the Commonwealth Games tracksuit for one of our clients here in Glasgow. We've had a pub that needed doing up. We've had quite a lot of people, but the one thing they loved was just the variety, because all the people that I work with, it's not just Africans. I've worked with Chinese, I've worked with a Scottish person. So it's just that diversity on the team. I've had access to a friend of mine, her name was Hannah. She was as well an interior designer. She came. She had so much wealth of information and knowledge that we needed on a project, and she left. So it seems the people that come in to work with us excite our clients because they can relate to them. So I think we've been lucky on that aspect.
So I noticed that you don't have a website. Your presence is mostly on social media. So how do you attract, how do people get in touch with you? How do they find you? Is that strictly through social media, or are there any other avenues that you use?
At the moment, it is social media, and I've found that, the way the business is going, it is going to become more or less like network marketing, where it's word of mouth. And it does reduce costs, but I do intend to get my website built up. I am taking this one very slow because I have a vision and how I want my website to look. There are very easy solutions online, like Wixfix, where you can go and you have a website, but I have a particular look that I want for my clients, and I want it to be accessible in a way that, okay, if anybody goes in and clicks on my name, they can get it. So that's why I'm kind of delaying on it, because I do feel there's attention to detail. There's certain aspects and designs that I feel have not yet come out for me that I need to picture certain tools on the website. So I am being patient with that, but I'm sure when it does come out, it will be great, and obviously everybody will get to me. But at the moment, it's Facebook. I do have a LinkedIn page. My Facebook is connected to my Twitter account, so I have those 3 avenues that I'm using at the moment, and it's really great because I do get so much feedback from people, and have managed to even cross borders and get in touch with, people in the States, in Sweden, and now Uganda. So it is working for now. It's very carefully strategized at some point to build up to when we get the website.
What's the hardest decision you've had to make as a business owner?
Wow, I think the hardest decision for me was just beginning, because coming from the background that I had this fear of, okay, you're starting something that you are basically going to step into the shoes of your father. So I was basically coming out from that shadow and saying, look, I'm not just doing this because I had a creative father, which is great, but just that launch pad of, okay, coming from what he's done and then giving me the ability to start something else, because he was an architect. I am an interior architect. And people just assume, oh yeah, that's Kagimu's daughter. She's definitely going to be an architect. But no, my passion is not in the buildings themselves, although I love the buildings. It's actually the environment that it creates, like having a very vibrant room or space that people can love. And there's nothing more that I love than just a well planned out room. So I kind of had to get my balance and say, okay, I'm just going to do this. I know people will assume, okay, yeah, this is what she should be doing because she comes from this kind of background. But actually, I had a completely 3D side to it. I saw what he loved in a different light. I liked the softer side of the design world. I loved, the ability to combine materials and textures and do the softer feminine side of things. Don't get me wrong, I do dive in a bit into the architecture side, but I love the design aspect of what I do. So that was really tough, just starting it, knowing that people would think, okay, yeah, this is what you should be doing. But actually then getting them to realize that I'm really serious about this and I do know what I'm doing and I actually do have a say. So just allowing them to do that was really tough.
And what are some of the best interior designs that you've personally seen?
Gosh, I am inspired every day. I see so many designs online. I see so many designs in buildings. I'm always looking at buildings, but I think my most favorite ones come from Australia. There is a page online called Contemporaries. I love their buildings because it's more or less the type style that my father used to do. It was very minimal, very clean, very elegant. So I think their buildings are phenomenal. And even the fact that we have a structure here in Glasgow done by the amazing Zaha Hadid. I absolutely love the Transport Museum. You should totally come up here one day and see it to believe it. But those structures, the way she plays with form and buildings, I love her designs. So those two would be the very best, at least that I've seen so far.
What's the most important part of your business? What area do you pay the most attention to?
Self-development. I feel that you cannot be a good leader if you have not invested in yourself. Like I said, I'm going back to study in a couple of months this year just to kind of improve on who I am, because if I'm not a good leader, if I do not have the qualities that I need, then the people that are coming, who I know will eventually be drawn to this company, will not have somebody they can look up to. So I had to, before I started again, the design, really dig deep and have to educate myself, really look into who I was, take responsibility for the places that I was not growing. And that's where my faith comes in, and even the fact that I had a mentor in my pastor, Bishop Ralph Mugi. So he challenged me so much, not only just in church, but then, the people that I had around me, I had to allow some things to change, and I had to allow, taking yes for yes and no for no, and looking into what I needed to become who I was. So things like complaining had to stop, procrastinating had to stop, so many different things. And I found that the more simple changes I made, the better person I became and the more mature I became to actually embrace, holding a business, because it does take a certain level of maturity to hold a business. And if you don't have that, you cannot, to be honest, manage it. So I had to grow into who I wanted to become. And I'm still doing that every day.
Are there any free resources online? For instance, a particular website that you use for personal development, something any business owner can use?
At the moment, to be honest, I find reading much more healthy. I don't yet have, apart from maybe John Maxwell, I kind of check in on him, get my daily, John Maxwell tweet for the morning. But most times I find a healthy dose in just reading a book. I prefer looking at what people have done. For example, like Donald Trump. I'm reading up on him because he's into real estate. So if I'm going into something like designing for houses and at some point probably having some properties, I want to know what he's doing, and then I can kind of see how I can do it better. So I prefer reading up on people like that. Napoleon Hill is another one that I really love. I'm always online on Prickster, Rebar Architecture, just every probably Facebook page that has anything to do with design. I do have a healthy dose of watching Grand Designs here in the UK. It's a program, I don't know if you know about it.
Yep.
Yeah, Grand Designs, or Grand Designs Australia. Oh gosh, I could sit and watch that for days, just, seeing the whole process of a building and what people go through, and just seeing the finished product. So I'm inspired by so many different things. And believe it or not, even music. I love my jazz, and I could go and sit into a place, just with music, and it kind of helps my creative spark. So I just go sit and probably come away quite inspired and wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and draw a house or something. So quite a variety, but those are my main avenues of inspiration.
You just mentioned music. I've noticed that there's certain rooms within different structures that have perhaps different colors, and the music being played or the ambient sound sort of complements the colors. Does sound or music in any way, shape or form enhance an experience inside a building?
Absolutely. I think spaces are the most amazing thing that people should actually have an open mind and open perspective into looking, because if you walk into a room and it's very cold, but then it has, like a subtle, smooth ambience, like with music, like, ballads or something soft like classical music, I don't know. It just kind of changes the atmosphere. So like I said, in design, you have so much to work with. You can work with the space, you can work with the room, you can work with the elements outside, it's like sunset, is it raining? And then depending on what it looks like, you can add some music. So of course, like if you've ever walked into a hotel and there's a piano, at the entrance and somebody's kind of playing that, it just kind of ushers you in. It's like an extra doorman, if you understand. It just creates this ambience and it creates this aura of, okay, this is what I've come into, so I'm just going to adapt towards, the mood of the room. So yeah, I do feel music has a huge effect on any room.
What's the happiest moment you've had as a business owner?
Oh wow! Apart from last week, seeing that article, I wrote it and it was just something that I knew I had to write. But just seeing the response and of over like 4,000 people that it reached, that by far was my happiest moment. I actually did not sleep for a while. I just kind of stopped and I was like, wow, this is huge. Like, people actually love design. People have taken to this story and it's just inspired so many. I think that was my happiest moment because I got feedback from Sweden, Uganda, Scotland. I do not know, even, Lioness of Africa and their reach. It just went viral. And I was like a happy kid. I just woke up with this grin 24/7. And I don't think it still hasn't settled in, because it does take something to reach that many people in 24 hours. So I think that was the happiest moment. But before that, probably it was obviously just doing the design suit for the Commonwealth Games. I thought that was great, but last week and that article, the legacy article on Lioness of Africa, nothing could top that. I'm still in awe. I'm still in awe. So thank you so much, everyone who read it, appreciated it, and feedback. And thank you so much. Yeah, I really do appreciate it.
You've been in business for 2 years now, is it?
Yes.
Are there any mistakes perhaps that you made that we can learn from?
Oh gosh, there's a lot. I think the first time when I started out, I had no idea what I needed. I was just so eager to get out there. And I probably did not know how to compile the excitement with actually the end product. So I would get way ahead of time or behind schedule because I either did not contact my accountant on this or I didn't um, follow through on a few things. So there was a bit of laziness in the past. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going into business, but I really did not know what I was doing. So things like invoices, things like bookkeeping, things like paying the people that you've gone into contract with on time and chasing them up for funds. Gosh, there's quite a lot, but it's such a journey because you learn something new every day. You learn, okay, so this is how not to speak to a client. This is how to speak to a client. This is how not to do, promotions. This is what they want. So it's such a learning curve, but I'm so blessed that I've had really awesome clients and they've actually taken me on and could notice, okay, she's beginning, but let's just humor her for a bit. And they were just generous enough to let me still be me. And at the end of the day, I still at least have some of their contacts and, they do come back and kind of follow up and see what I'm doing. So, but it's always just the not knowing and being scared and not having a plan, like a proper plan and the solutions that I needed at the time, which I do now. So I'm grateful for every mistake.
And in your opinion, what are the three most important things every business should have and why?
You definitely need a vision for your business because if you don't know where you're going, then you cannot begin. If you have a business that you want to be here for long haul, then you have to put the work in now. You have to have a plan. You have to have the finances if you need the finances or the funding. You have to have a location. You have to have all the things that you need to get to where you want to. Because, for example, with Phoenix, I do see Phoenix being a very huge company, possibly will become a Fortune 500 company. I can say that now because the way it is going, that is what I want for it. I want it to be a global rebranding solutions company. And I've made like God has been so awesome. He's given me contacts in the USA that actually want us to now distribute their products within the whole of Europe. And if that's not a sign for me that, okay, I can go ahead and have like a European distributing company within Phoenix, then that is just confirmation. I wanted it to go global. I wanted to go as far as, and that is something that I had to at the beginning. The second thing I feel that you need to have for your company is just, you have to want it to grow, to be honest. You cannot have something and you don't see it growing either into a franchise or a corporation. Depending on what it is, you have to want it to grow. So that means you have to make contacts. You have to start looking and seeing, okay, if we want to go into, for example, Uganda, who do we know there? What can we do ahead of time? How are you going to get people to work underneath you? So that is also a big thing. You have to want to grow and you have to have the steps in place and the plan as well in place to see that happen. So you invest a lot to where you want to go. You put the seeds, the time and the work in now, like most people say, for where you want to go later, and probably just be in a better place where you can relax and just sit back and see the company just growing and giving you the harvest and the fruits of what you've invested. The third thing I would also think that a company should have is just a clear message. Just be very easy for people to know what you're doing. If you are a design house, be a design house. Don't complicate it. It's okay to have different avenues, but narrow it down to one thing. And with Phoenix Designs, design is my passion. Houses are my passion. At the moment, we have a range of things that are coming up, but the one thing that is Phoenix is the design side, the buildings, the houses, clients who need their homes done, clients who need their offices done, any structure. You have to be very simple, not complicated. Just be who you want to be. Basically, just be what you need to be for people to find you, locate you, and bring you their business.
Do you have any cool or remarkable stories from your entrepreneurial journey that you'd like to share with us?
I think the funniest one, I was trying to think about this yesterday when I saw the questions. So I'm not looking at them now. The funniest one, probably the coolest one was ending up at the Entrepreneurial Exchange annual dinner, which basically, if you've not heard of, there is a website called the Entrepreneurial Exchange. It's just this amazing organization of male entrepreneurs, all the wealthiest people of Scotland, just kind of meet every year. And I remember getting an invitation to attend one, and I'm like, me? It's kind of like, me, Claire, going for this thing. And it was just walking into this room of billionaires and millionaires, and they're talking figures and sums of what they've made. And I'm like, how did I get here? It was just too cool to kind of see these prominent people that you've always seen like in the papers, but they're talking to you and encouraging you in your business, and just having that freedom and liberty to network with like-minded people that you aspire to have a time with. So I think that was such a highlight. I think that was in 2011, and I have since sworn to get into and becoming one of their members. That was the first Black woman Entrepreneurial Exchange member by 2017, and I'm hoping that will happen because that was the coolest thing that ever happened, and I'm really grateful for that time to network and meet like-minded people in Glasgow.
If the tables were turned today and this were your show and I was your guest, what's the one question you'd ask me?
If the tables were turned, and I think the one thing I would ask you is, why radio? What was it about coming into this sphere that you chose radio? Why not anything else? Why not TV? Why radio?
Well, I picked audio because, number one, it's easier for me to produce. For instance, we're having a Skype call right now, and it's not even a video Skype call, it's just a voice call. So once this is done, it's very easy for me to edit it and then upload it. I don't need a team of specialists like a camera guy, lighting, sound, and so on. And I don't need to, let's say, dress up for an interview over Skype. So it's easier for me to do. And also on the side of the listeners, audio is one of those things, especially if it's on demand like this. You can listen to this whenever you want. It's not on at a particular time. It's one of those things that you can do when you're in the car going to work. You can do it whilst you're at home doing your laundry, or perhaps waiting at a reception area. You don't have to say no to one thing in order to listen to audio. You can simultaneously listen and do something else. Whereas with video, you have to consume it wholly. You can't consume a video and text at the same time. It's rather difficult. So that's one of the reasons as to why I picked audio, is because of its simplicity in terms of production, which makes me able to make more and more, faster and faster.
I definitely, I think that it is quite a good tool, because you're in Uganda, I'm in Scotland, and we're having a Skype call interview. So yeah, I think you chose the right avenue and tool.
Thank you. Lastly, how can people get in touch with you, through email or social media?
Well, people can get in touch with me via my email, which is claire.kagimu@gmail.com, or my mobile. For those who are in the UK, I think the details are on my Facebook. If they are trying to get in touch with me for business, it's just very simple for them to kind of send me a quick inbox on Phoenix Design's blog. Or my page, my Facebook page. I do have a LinkedIn page, and all of them, even if you get in touch and you just send me a quick inbox, then I can probably just ask you to send me a quick email, or just cut short and just call me straight up, and well, I can see how I can help you.
Well, I'll have all those details in your show notes page, so that in case anyone wants to get in touch with you, they can just go to your page, which will be businessmike.com/Clare Kagimu. They can find all your details there.
That would be absolutely great.
Well, thank you so much, Claire, for your time today, and we wish you all the best with Phoenix Design.
Thank you so much, Daudi. I really do appreciate the interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to Business Mike today. And if you'd like to listen to more episodes just like this one, simply go to businessmike.com. For all the links and resources mentioned in this particular episode, simply type the name Claire into the search bar to access her show notes page. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, take care.